Welcome to the Cowbell Kingdom podcast. I am James Ham, and for the last time, I am joined by Mr. Jonathan Santiago. Jonathan, what's going on?
I'm leaving. I
He's
think
leaving.
I'm leaving on the midnight train to Georgia. No, I'm leaving to somewhere else, and we can go in depth, or we can brush on that a little bit. But I'm sure some people have heard by now. It's trickled out here and there on Twitter from a couple folks. But I am leaving Cowbell Kingdom. I have a new job, a new opportunity, a new city that I'm moving to, and it's a little bittersweet because I've been in this with you for, gosh, 4 years now, and to be leaving and after everything that we have seen transpire with this team over the last few years, to be leaving at this point is a little sad. But I almost feel like my work has been done. The team stayed. We got the word out. We kept people informed, and I felt like it was partly my responsibility to help out in that regard. And now the Sacramento Kings are here to stay, and they're going to be celebrating their 30th year here in Sacramento. It's just unfortunate that I will not be here to experience that and cover that for you guys, the fans.
Well, clearly, John, you were a jinx, and now that you're leaving, they're going to win. So,
I know.
so we will now see a 50-win season and playoffs and all of it that goes with that. No, I'm joking. It's been a
They
good
probably
run.
will, though, James. They probably will. They'll probably be the Phoenix Suns of this year, man. Like with their ragtag bunch of, Darren Collison and Ramon Sessions at point guard, and DeMarcus Cousins may average 30 and 15 and be all NBA first team this season. Knowing my luck, that's probably what could happen
That
or will happen.
it is what could happen, and you never know. You never know. But John, it has been a great run. Your work has always been spectacular. I hope the fans know that we really put our heart and our souls into what we do here at Cowbell Kingdom. It is a huge undertaking. It is a 24/7 job that we undertake here, and all the work that you've done, I'm sure the fans appreciate it, keeping them updated, informed, at practice almost every day, at every single game, riding the beat at both city council meetings and through countless crazy events in the Sacramento area as this team bordered on the brink of extinction. And like I said, it's been a good run, and I really appreciate all the work you've done, and I hope that our listeners appreciate that work as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've told stories to people who ask me in the past, what do you do? What is your job? And, I tell them, hey, I'm a sports writer, sports blogger, whatever. And, you explain to them the craziness that we've witnessed over these past 4 years that you and I have been a tandem here at Cowbell Kingdom with, I hopped on board in 2011, May or April. Zach Harper, our old editor emeritus, now with CBS Sports, gave me the green light to hop on board with you. And of course, Zach moved on to other things, and you and I became, you and I formed a really great synergy together. And just the craziness again. I mean, there would be times where I I go to City Hall and cover a press conference from Kevin Johnson, held by Kevin Johnson, updating people on what's going on with the ownership situation with the whales. And then I would drive over to Natomas and ask Keith Smart about, why aren't you, spreading DeMarcus Cousins and Tyreek Evans' minutes uh, more evenly through games, or staggering their minutes more through games so that you have them in the contest, throughout the full 48 minutes or so. And it's been such a wild ride. It's been, again, crazy. It's been a pleasure. It's been a treat. And A lot of people, I think they live for, when you're a sports writer, you live for the moments to cover maybe a championship series, the playoffs. And I've been around this team for 7 years, starting, with my time as an intern for the Sacramento Kings back in 2007. And I never got to experience that. I never covered playoffs. I've covered other teams' playoffs now in the Golden State Warriors, but I've never covered the Sacramento Kings in the playoffs. But we had a chance to really cover something that was unique, that was special, that doesn't happen um, really ever. Relocations occur, but a team like the Sacramento Kings averting relocation not once, uh, and but twice is really something that both you and I will always remember, and I'm sure the fans are always going to remember that. And that's one parting thing I want to remind all the Sacramento Kings fans out there. I mean, as you get further removed from the relocation saga, it's all focused on basketball now. Just remind yourself every now and then that this team was really close to leaving, and when you when you're upset about the point guard situation, or you're upset about who the Kings are starting at power forward, remember that, as Kevin Johnson once said, that this is bigger than basketball. And again, it was such a fun experience. It was a harrowing experience, but to do it with you, you've been my partner for the last 4 years. You become one of my close friends, a confidant that I go to for advice, and vice versa. And to do it with you, I couldn't have asked for a better partner to experience all the things that we've experienced as sports writers over the last four years.
John, again, the work has been greatly appreciated. I remember that there was a time where this Seattle situation, popped up, and we were going through, I think what
I
people,
panicked. I'm gonna be honest. You know that, like,
yeah,
behind the scenes, James and I, we talk every day. And when the word broke out that Seattle was finalizing an
first and goal
agreement
at the
with,
one.
yeah, finalizing an agreement with the Maloofs, we were like, what are we gonna do? Like, maybe I gotta move to Seattle and keep this site going in a different incarnation, and covering the Seattle Supersonics instead of the Sacramento Kings. And then everything happened. I mean, Vivek Ranadive and all of those guys and the ownership group, they happened, and it was amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing, and also just like the raw emotion that we go through, because
Yeah.
we, like I said, we do put our heart and our soul into what we do here at Cowbell Kingdom, and to go through all of the trials and tribulations of this franchise, to follow it so closely, but at the same time, we're following it knowing that extinction, not just for the Sacramento Kings, but for Cowbell Kingdom, was just floating right there, like right beyond reach the entire time. It was a traumatic, traumatic, sort of way to live through that entire ordeal. So, John, since you are leaving now, what is like your favorite moment from your time with Cowbell Kingdom over the last 4 years?
I would say the rally. The rally after the sale was finalized, or I don't think it was finalized at that point, but they had celebrated at Cesar Chavez Park with all the new owners, with Vivek Ranadive, Mark Mastrov, the Jacobs family, all the minority owners from Phil Oates to Kevin Nagel, and everybody coming back, because it was such a celebration. It was we you know it was just something that was fun. And um, I remember us, that was probably my favorite podcast, the podcast we did after the rally, where we had several guests. We had Mark Bastrov, we had
Paul
Phil Oates,
Jacobs.
we had Paul Jacobs, and we had our buddy, the great Deuce Mason from Sports 1140 KHTK. we were in the VIP. We were in the
I forgot
VIP
about that.
section.
Forgot about that.
I was trying to get into the VIP section. I couldn't get an extra VIP badge while you were in there like schmoozing with everybody. But
Yeah,
by the
having a
time
glass of wine and schmoozing. I mean, basically, our
yeah.
job was done for that night, and it was an entertaining night to say the least.
Yeah, and then even later that night, giving people an even deeper behind the scenes look. We headed over to the Citizen Hotel, hanging out with a couple other people from the media and everybody, um, involved in the effort. And Mitch Richmond was there, and it was, that was great. That was fun. That was one of the times where we really got to sit down and chat with Mitch and kind of get to know how down to earth of a person he is. And again, those were fun times. I mean, just like you said, we were always people would always ask us. I know you were asked, and I was asked multiple times, "What are you gonna do?" When I went to All Star Weekend that year to cover, David Stern and ask him a question and ask him questions about where things stood with the relocation saga, with the potential relocation of the Sacramento Kings to Seattle. Every single writer, every single person. I remember I, met Ernie Johnson and Steve Kerr, who was with TNT at the time, and everyone would ask like, "Oh, you're from Sacramento, so what are you gonna do if they leave? Because it looks like they're gonna leave." And I would tell them, "I don't know. I mean, we'll just kind of cross that bridge when it gets there. Maybe I'll go to Seattle, or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll do something completely different. But for now, this is such an incredible story. It's such an incredible, um, narrative to cover that you just kind of cross that bridge when you get there, and it just all panned out as such that the Sacramento Kings ended up staying, and here we are today. Unfortunately, I'm not staying, but I still plan on um, watching the Kings from afar, and being an observer. I still will have my Twitter account, so I'll be chiming in here and there, but I'll still be keeping a close eye on this team after I leave, because again, I've been around the Sacramento Kings for 7 years. I got to give a shout out to Andrew Nicholson, with Kings.com. He hired me, as an intern, his first intern actually with the Kings, and that was when I really got my feet wet, in terms of journalism and covering this team. And the only guy that's been around as long as me, that's on that team, is Jason Thompson, and I've seen Jason Thompson. I can go back to the days where I've talked to JT when he was a rookie or a second year player with so much hope and optimism for his career, to where he is today, where he's gone through some trials and tribulations. And it's pretty incredible to kind of put perspective on those things, and to kind of look back now that we have, I guess, a bookend to this particular chapter in the saga that is my life.
The saga that is John's life. It's a journey. It's a
Yeah,
life experience that you can never replace. I know
yeah,
that we talk about all of the things that we've done, but I think at the end of the day, like there are going to be a lot of things that we do in life, or that we've done in life before Cowbell Kingdom, after Cowbell Kingdom. But at the end of the day, when you're an old man and you got grandkids and they want to know about stories, we've got stories. We've got stories
yeah.
that other people just don't get to have. Stories about NBA players and about a million different things. I've got Bill Walton blowing me up, and I've seen a lot of different things. I mean, the time I hit Francisco Garcia in the face with a ball when at the practice facility. I mean, you can't replace these things. These are part of sort of our history now. And John, again, I wish you all the best in all that you do. It's been a stellar run, and I know that the readers of Cowbell Kingdom are going to miss you greatly going forward.
Yeah, and you know what? I want to let everybody know there that James, when James kind of you took over Cowbell Kingdom for Zach and had this, this idea saying, you know what, I'm not too happy with the coverage here of this team in this area. The fans deserve something better. People here deserve something, an additional option to what they have here. You know, when I came on board, I thought, fantastic. Let's do it. Let's push this thing as far as we can go. Let's do podcasts. Let's do feature stories. Let's do video features. Let's do everything that we can possibly do, because the internet is a place where multimedia content is possible. And that really started with you. I think everybody out there who patronizes Cowbell Kingdom, um, thank James for having just that simple idea of, hey, there's a void to be filled here, and I think we can fill it. And it's taken a lot of time, and the work is not done. Obviously, when I leave, since I'm leaving, that's not done. Cowbell Kingdom is going to continue on, and it's going to keep growing. And again, it's because of that one idea that you had to just say, look, let's do something here to challenge the status quo. And I think Kings fans are grateful for it. They didn't have this type of coverage before. I mean, with the way media is changing these days, it's tough to kind of follow a team from a small market as closely as you might like. But here in Sacramento, you've got options, like us and Sacktown Royalty and other folks too, to keep you updated on the Sacramento Kings, and it's been great. And another thing I want to touch on too, James, about this whole experience. I know you asked me what was my favorite moment or my most memorable moment of my experience here working for Cowbell Kingdom and covering this team for Cowbell Kingdom. Outside of just an individual experience, I would say that it's been so wonderful to meet the people that I've met. Starting with you. I don't think people know how we met. We met in the press box of Sleep Train Arena. At the time, I think it was Power Balance, or maybe it didn't even have a sponsorship. Um,
It was
at that,
probably Power Balance
yeah,
in the immortal words of Ray Ratto. Those power knowing the Maloofs, those Power Balance bracelets probably gave us all cancer.
wrist cancer or
Wrist
something like
cancer. Wrist
that.
cancer.
But you were already starting to do some stuff with Cowbell, and I was at the time, working at KFBK and also um, freelancing for Slam magazine, and you know, I mean, right off the bat, I knew that you were a good guy. I knew that you were somebody who was reasonable and had a right head on you. And then when the opportunity came along to work with you, there was no hesitation in my mind. I never really had any question about whether or not you and I would mesh, because again, my first impression of you when we met in the press box of Sleep Train Arena was very, very favorable. So people that I've met, all our friends. He's gonna kill me because he's not on the podcast. I'm sure he's listening right now. He's been begging me to get on the podcast. Our good buddy Ed Montez. Ed,
We've had him on one
we've
time,
had
didn't
him.
we?
Ed always likes to rib me that I never get him. He's like, when am I gonna get on the podcast again? Like, we had you on a couple times, man. But I'm giving you a shout out now, Ed. Ed Ed Montez is a great man. We didn't have you on this particular podcast, but we've had you before. Kevin Fippen, Blake Ellington, people that we've worked with here at Cowbell Kingdom. The fantastic work of Stephen Chia, our photographer, for the first three or so seasons that I was on board, and Kamani David. Tobin Halsey, the fantastic director of Small Market Big Heart, and again, meeting everybody, guys like Blake Ellington, great writer, great contributor to Sacktown Royalty, and a guy who helped you co-produce that film. Just so many people, and all the friends that we've made. I mean, these these connections wouldn't have happened. It's amazing to think that these connections wouldn't have happened if this basketball team didn't exist. You and I wouldn't be friends. You and I wouldn't have have worked together as long as we had if this basketball team didn't exist. And it's just, again, it's so incredible and amazing to me that you know something as really, you know not that important. It's a leisurely activity to watch the NBA, to enjoy the NBA, and even the news and the coverage of the NBA. It's not life or death. I mean, we're not talking about things going on around the world that affect us, that can affect us financially, um, or anything of that similar nature. I mean, it's just basketball, but just the unifying power of the game to bring so many people together who otherwise would have never met and become good friends and become, like family. Again, for lack of better terms, it's been amazing. It's been incredible.
I would fully agree, John. I think that's one thing that, like, the inner circle, even, we've spent so much time in the media room with so many different people there as
Yes.
well. And I know that, guys like Jason Jones, even
Yeah.
Aileen Voisin, Sean Cunningham, guys that,
Mark Spears,
yeah, that you're
Sam Amick.
there all
You
the
know, you
time.
you
Yeah.
become friends with these people. Ryan Yamamoto. I want to just shout out as many people as I can who have been able to meet and befriend through this whole experience. I mean,
Before I
Ryan
shut
Yam.
the mic off, you got like the flashing, you've got 10 seconds thing going.
Yeah, you're gonna cue the music. You're gonna start playing the outro to
The
get me
outro.
get me off the stage, like I'm thanking all these people on my Oscar speech. But
That's
yeah,
right.
guys like Sean and the News 10 guys are fantastic. Sean Cunningham, Ryan Yamamoto, Brian May, Nick Monticelli. Our friends over at KHTK, from Jason Ross to um, Deuce Mason and Morgan Reagan, Carmichael Dave, everything that he's done. The people that we've gotten to meet, guys like the great Gary Gerald. I mean, it's
Oh
so
yeah.
humbling when we've had G Man on our show multiple times. And, here's another moment that I remember from that rally, getting a chance to touch base with G Man, and just us talking one on one, and him thanking me personally, saying, "Thank you so much for the great work that you do." And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, man, this guy is a legend. This is the guy who's been broadcasting the Sacramento Kings since day one, since
Yeah.
they got here, and
Year 30.
he thinks that, like, what I've done has been, phenomenal. I mean, this is amazing. I mean, to see that our work has impacted so many people, from just your everyday fan to a guy like Gary Gerald, or even the great Phil Oates, one of the minority owners. I mean, Phil, God bless his soul, such a great man. He even filled out our survey at Cowbell Kingdom a
That's
season ago,
right.
our
Yeah.
audience survey. I'm going through the results, and I see Phil's name, and I'm like, Phil didn't have to do that for us. I mean, he owns the team.
Yeah.
But, just so many good people, and it's such a good community here in Sacramento. And, you know, eh, you don't have this everywhere in the NBA. I mean, I can't speak for the other small markets because I've never lived in Memphis. I've never lived in Indiana. I've never
I've hung
lived
out
in.
with the guys from Milwaukee, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't have
Yeah,
that.
I mean, there's
We
just
don't care. Nobody
it's
cares if they take our team."
it's so different around here. Like, I know you feel this too when you walk into Sleep Train Arena. I'm gonna call it Arco Arena because that's what it really is. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the name of that building. When you walk into Arco Arena, it's home. You walk in and you see all the we see all the security guards. We see, the media check-in folks at the front desk. Kristen, Julie, and Sarah, and Heather Smith. She was there for quite some time, and went on to the Reno Bighorns, doing some new things now. I mean, everybody there. You just know everyone. I mean, again, I want to just thank so many people who've been great to me over the years, start dating back to my days as an intern to now. I mean, I got to shout out the media relations staff. Chris Clark, who runs things there. Chris is he is one of the hardest working people, making everything happen for us, and he's been so great with this new ownership group, allowing us the access that we've had over the last year. um, Rasan Gathers, one of the new additions to the media relations staff. He has been fantastic. And of course, the great Daryl Arata, he giving us all the stats when we need them. I'll always remember after every game when we're in that media room and we're still there writing our stories, Daryl walking in and asking us, "You good?" Like, yeah, we're good. We have everything we need.
Does anyone need a scarf? We gave away
These
scarves tonight. Who
Does
needs a
anyone
scarf?
need Ben McLemore poster dunking on dunking over Shaquille O'Neal?
We've got some Vivek Ranadive foam fingers. Does anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Daryl's a
mean,
good guy.
and then even the guys who've left, guys like Darren May. He was, D May was always great when he was running things for us. Devin Blankenship, you know, everybody. I mean, there's just so many people. Again, shouting out people within the Sacramento Kings. Andrew Nicholson with Kings.com. Katie Cracchiolo over there at Kings.com. She's been fantastic. She's one of the new additions there. Jason Wise. I've known Jason, for a very long time, and he does so much phenomenal work. And they've helped us out. I mean, there have been times where, hey, we need a picture. Kings.com has always been gracious enough to have a synergy with us and allow us to use their work at times. Alex Kramers, who's now back in New York doing his thing. He sent me a text earlier today, congratulating me on my new gig. I'm gonna text him back. As soon as I get done packing here at my place, because I'm literally moving tomorrow or today once this podcast goes up here on Friday. But just so many great people, from Scott Moak, the public address announcer. Moak's been such a great guy to me. Um, you know, Dating back to my days as an intern. Maurice Brazelton, who, you may recognize his face if you're at games. He's sitting there on the scores table, kind of coordinating everything for everything that you see in the arena. Jermaine Tran, one of the other guys in the entertainment department, Scott Freshour, the in arena MC. Just so many great people. Katie Nicholson, I mean, one of my great friends. Meeting you, meeting Zach, thanks to Zach Harper. He's done so many great things after Cowbell Kingdom, and he gave me this opportunity. I remember meeting Zach for the first time when he was about to start Cowbell Kingdom back in 2009. We met actually at a pro-am game at Capital Christian High School, where Dante Greed and Jason Thompson were playing. I think Matt Barnes was playing there too. And Zach had told me, he was doing his other blog at the time, but he had told me that ESPN had contacted him about starting a Kings blog, Cowbell Kingdom. And it's, again, it's amazing. 5 years, 5 years this place has been around, and it's grown so much, it's evolved so much, and it all comes down to the fans. I mean, you guys are the reason that we do what we do, and you're the reason that I've done what I've done here at this website. We just love the atmosphere. We love the game, and that's why we do what we do. I mean, it stems from a desire to tell a story about basketball and to tell a story about the personalities that you see on the court, to get to know them beyond, their field goal percentages, their corner 3-point percentages, or their assists per game and things like that. I mean, it's been so fun. It has been so fun. And yeah, I'm gonna keep thanking people, James. You can't stop me
You
until
you
you.
gotta you gotta wrap it up. You gotta stop thanking people. I'll
I
say
got.
this too: we're not going anywhere. Cowbell Kingdom
Yeah.
is not going anywhere. John is going somewhere. He's gonna go live a luxurious lifestyle somewhere else, doing something completely different than what he does now. But we're gonna add a few people to the team.
Yes.
We actually have already increased some roles, just to let it be known. Kamani David, who has done incredible work with video and photography over the last season, is going to up his role with Cowbell Kingdom. He will be taking on the role of director of social media, so he will be doing a lot of work with the Cowbell Kingdom social media accounts. We've added a writer, and we'll probably add more. But the first writer that we've added is Rui Thomas. Everyone, give Mr. Rui Thomas a follow on Twitter.
RUI. RUI.
At Mr. Rui RUI Thomas. Give him a follow. We'll make sure we promote him as well. But he will be taking on some of the role. And John, to be honest with you, I'm really excited to go back to doing a lot of the day to day
Yeah.
because you've taken the role of day to day, and I've taken the role more of columnist over the last couple of years. And I'm excited to get back in and sort of mix it up, and we've seen a little bit of that already. And I'm excited, sort of changing roles. Now we're gonna have a new podcast partner coming up. We're not going to announce that today, but we will have a new. I will have a new co-host for next week. I do believe that there will be a lot of excitement about my new co-host, and so we'll let that one build a little bit. We'll let you think on that a little bit, but it's been a wild ride, and Cowbell Kingdom is going to power forward. And boy, I just used a King's term, didn't I? And we're going to power forward because we're Sacramento
Here,
proud.
Cowbell Kingdom rises.
Because we're Sacramento proud.
To see how many
Uh,
you can fit in there.
no, I mean, look, you have to understand that we do this because we love what we do. And that's the reason why we provide the coverage that we do. It's not because we love the Sacramento Kings. It's not because we love, uh, you know, all of the work. It's that we love the commitment that we've made to giving the best product possible. I love the chase. I love being in the locker room and getting
Mhm.
information. I'm a seeker of information, and that's how we'll continue. We'll push forward as we've done with direct day-to-day coverage of the Sacramento Kings, and that's sort of the idea behind Cowbell Kingdom. It's not Sacktown royalty. It's not a fan base site. We're here providing hopefully the best coverage of the Sacramento Kings that you can find anywhere, and we'll continue doing that as we move forward. You
That's
know
it.
what? I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Cowbell Kingdom podcast. This was the saying goodbye to John Santiago Cowbell Kingdom podcast. I again want to make sure everyone knows just how wonderful it's been to work with John, how dedicated he's been to providing the best that he has day in and day out. And he's been a great partner, and I wish him all the luck in his new venture away from Sacramento. So that's going to do it for this episode of the Cowbell Kingdom podcast. Join us next week. We will have a new guest. We will have a new co-host, and we'll bring you more information on what's going on with the Sacramento Kings. So for Jonathan Santiago, I am James Ham. Thank you for listening to the Cowbell Kingdom podcast.